This advert was paid for with funds embezzled from the Blind Drunk Patreon. Are you sick of every book you read these days being filled with woke nonsense? Then look no further than the new line of literary masterpieces from the Blind Drunk Publishing House. Available now at frankly extortionate prices. And remember, if you don't give us your money, then you're basically Stalin.
That's right. We did it. We finally did it.
The day has finally come.
Yeah, the day you've all been waiting for. You asked for this.
Yeah.
Really.
Frankly, this is on you.
fault.
This is on you.
Yeah, we heard you loud and clear. I presented my Ben Shapiro fan fiction. A lot of people calling out for it. They wanted more Sleeping Giant. And, here we are. We've finally done it. But we don't want to give you that. You might be wondering, why does it take so long, to write just one book? Well, I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked such a conveniently leading question. We weren't happy to just give you one book. No. We weren't even happy to give you two books. We have come before, may it please the court, we are here before you here today to present you with not one, not two, but three books. Books. Yeah, no, they are actually.
They are books.
It's not a con.
It's not a con.
Yeah, great way to start. Just so it flies around. It's not a con. It's not a con. Please don't go. The Louis C.K. school of advertising. Right,
Yeah.
Jesus, Joe, come on. Jesus, get with it. Now, there are some slight changes, obviously. You might recall Tom of Finland Clancy. We hardly knew you.
Yeah, may you rest in peace.
May you rest in peace. The name has been retired for legal reasons. We're now writing under the name Tom Chancy, which, I quite like.
I do
too.
yeah.
I think certainly our lawyers agree. It's a much funnier name, our lawyers agree. So we've got 3 books to offer you. 2 from Mr. Tom Chancy, Sleeping Giant and Strikebreaker 3049, a sci-fi thriller,
a modern
classic, as well as a new face on the scene, a up-and-coming author, Jake A. Howling. That's not a play on anyone's name. There's no one real that I'm taking the piss out of with that.
No, I couldn't think.
No.
I don't know why we're drawing attention to it.
Yeah, but our lawyer agreed it would be very funny to do so. We've got 3 books. They're ready to go. I'll just dump these here. Of course, starting us off, we've got Tom Chancy's Sleeping Giant, the classic, the original. It's the shortest of the 3, but I like to think, it packs a punch in its relatively short runtime. This one you know and love. If you haven't heard the intro chapter,
where have you been?
But if you'd like to hear it, please go and check out our Ben Shapiro short stories, part 1. That should be appearing on screen right now. Right up here. It's up here now. There it is. No, sorry, it just moved. It's up here now.
That I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. And I won't forget the men who died, who gave that right to me.
So go check that out. It's very funny.
It's brilliant.
It's some of our finest work.
Absolutely.
We also have, for our full colour art edition, the deluxe edition, a number of wonderful artistic additions to the story. Friend of the show and official fan artist in residence of Blind Drunk, Alfie Pound, who famously sent us incredible Beanie Shapini fan art when we first began this wonderful journey. He absolutely amazingly agreed to join us in this adventure and provided some incredible art, which of course you'll have to pay up if you want to see it, but trust me, it's fantastic.
It is good.
It looks absolutely amazing. It really is so good. So do check that out. Huge thanks to everybody that played a part in helping us get these done. The man, the myth, the divorcee. We've got digital versions, print versions.
But might as well buy one of each.
Yeah,
I think buy a digital version and a print version, and that way we get more money.
Exactly. The digital versions, we do get a bigger cut.
We do.
So if you want to help us out, this was a huge financial loss for us. We took a real hit. Even one of these was a real mistake, and we did it 3 times. So, we had to remortgage the house. Today we've had bailiffs round, we had to pretend that we were out.
Yeah.
It's been a very ugly situation, but you can rectify that by giving us your cold hard. And if you don't, then, whatever happens, that's on you.
Yeah, I just hope you sleep really well at night,
Yeah.
knowing that we're now living in a cardboard box.
Yeah.
Thanks to you.
Yeah, all I can say is we're learning a lot about you today, aren't we, mate? Yeah. Learning about
You specifically.
Yeah, learn about who you really are. So if you want more details on Sleeping Giant, check out the Ben Shapiro video. But moving on to some of the juicy new morsels that we have for you, let's get stuck into Strikebreaker 3049.
yes.
So next up on our smorgasbord, our Tom Chancy smorgasbord, we have a brand new novel-length story, Strikebreaker 3049. Again, completely legally distinct. That's all me. The font choice is not a reference to anything, okay? Yeah, we decided to go hard. You know, they say go hard, go home, and then go and be hard.
Yeah,
and
that's exactly what we did.
And we did both of those things. So it's my pleasure to read for you the back of this book. When the Tusk Mining Company of Mars comes under attack from an insidious enemy within, only one man can stop their diabolical schemes and protect the galaxy from interplanetary communism. Chad T. Roosevelt is a proud Christian warrior protecting the asbestos mines of Mars from the increasingly desperate and underpaid workers who actually generate the wealth that the vast intergalactic mining concern, which dominates their every waking moment, relies upon. But when a cabal of space commies attempts to unionize the company workforce, they turn Chad's peaceful backwater settlement into a homosexual witches' coven of SJW degeneracy. We can't be having that now, can we? The tagline is, "They took his home, now he'll take their lives." Which I'm sure you'll agree is fantastic.
I mean, who out there can honestly say they are not absolutely intrigued to read that?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
yeah.
Ow.
I'll give you a little sneak peek later on, so stay tuned for that. But for now, we'll move on to J.K. Howling's Cancelled.
I mean, you don't have to just buy one copy.
No,
you can
you
buy
can buy
several.
several copies.
You can give it out as presents.
Yep, perfect stocking fillers.
Yeah.
Perfect
stocking fillers in August.
Yes, perfect August stocking. From the editor of a different, much better book, it says here on the front. So that should tell you all you need to know, really. It's a stone cold classic.
Oh, a cautionary tale.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ripped straight from the headline.
Yeah.
Famed true crime comedian and beloved children's author Patrick Rowlahan had it all. Fame, wealth, and an adoring family. But after an innocent tweet about the Jewish question suddenly goes viral, Patrick finds his whole world flipped, turned upside down. What started online has now gone frighteningly IRL, and the wokerati won't stop until everyone has been cancelled. So as you can see, a real story of our time.
Oh,
you know?
yes.
A perfect snapshot of this sort of Marxist age that we've suddenly found ourselves in.
It's a disgrace.
Dominated by conservationists.
Yeah.
and
Transgender activisers.
Yeah, exactly. Activated transgenderists, as far as the eye can see. I mean, I would say these are the three best books I've ever read.
Yeah, oh, easy. I mean, I skimmed them, but yeah.
The best
three
books
I've ever
skim read. You're probably screaming at the screen right now. Please tell me, where can I buy these books? How can I give you as much of my money as I can possibly stand to give, even more so? How can I bankrupt myself in keeping you afloat? Well, it's simple. Print versions, we shopped around, we had a look around to try and figure a way out of the conundrum, and didn't. So, of course, we have had to enter into a deal with the devil himself.
Yeah, we really would have liked to have done it through anyone other than Amazon.
But this is the hell world that we live in. So
yeah, my repeat prescription is not going to pay.
No, that's what he calls nightly trips to the off license. You can pick these books up. All three are available on Amazon in Kindle version, print version, but we also have all three available in digital versions, PDF versions, EPUB versions on Gumroad. We get a bigger cut of that, so if you feel like being generous, buy both if you like. Yeah. But of course, it's very nice to have a printed copy. I appreciate that, and they are very nice. I put a lot of work into them.
Yeah.
And I have to admit they are looking fantastic. So yeah, that's where you can pick them up. You'll find all the links below. You will find information about these books everywhere.
Oh,
they'll be on the news soon.
Yeah.
I know the BBC will be covering them because they're going to sweep the world. They're going to sweep the nation. They're going to sweep the world. This is going to knock people's socks off.
Yes.
Step aside, Kurt Schlichter. The right's got a new hero now, and his name is Tom Chancy. People respond well. People like this stuff. Obviously, there's more to come, potentially. You know, that depends on you. But really, it just comes down to how much you really want it. How much do you really want it, you know? We've worked very hard on them, Blind Drunk Publishing House, and if you do spot any, mistakes in the book, no you fucking didn't. Shut your fucking mouth, no you fucking didn't. So yeah, Amazon, Gumroad, we've got the digital deluxe versions. They were tailor-made, handmade, just for you, because we love you. Who loves you, baby? So yeah, they're up. They're ready to buy, they're ready and waiting for you, and I mean, to be honest, to be frank, obviously we're joking and that, but I think, at least I'm biased, but they are incredibly funny, and I do think that people will enjoy them. We went to great lengths to make sure that pretty much every page was just jam-packed with as many jokes as we could get in. If you enjoyed The Sleeping Giant reading from the original video, then I think that you will certainly enjoy the full-length version as well as Strikebreaker and Cancelled. So what are you waiting for? Why are you depriving yourself of such incredible experiences?
Get yours now.
Yeah. Please go check out our Gumroad store, check out our Amazon pages, treat yourself and treat the ones you love. The gift of Tom Chancy.
It's a gift that keeps on
the
giving.
gift that keeps on giving. Cheers.
To Tom
Yeah.
and to Jake.
Yeah. Yes, cheers. Thank you for being here with
And
us.
to you, I suppose.
For all your support. We really do appreciate it. We wouldn't have done any of this if it hadn't been for you.
No.
That one video, and then obviously people responded really well and they really liked it, and I would never have even considered doing it until that. So, thank you very much, and you're welcome.
Cheers.
Cheers. Okay, so let's do some reading. Okay, so for those of you, those very few of you I imagine, who somehow were not won over by our salesman packer, we're just going to do the Sleeping Giant treatment for 2 new books, and so Joe, if you'd like to please take it away.
Prologue. Yeah, that's right. You get a prologue when you buy it.
Free as well. Free extra chapter.
Free prologue. Shit, we should put a sticker on it.
Yeah.
The year is Space Year 3049. And male pattern baldness has finally been eradicated. Also, man has conquered the stars. With a pioneer spirit that would have made the founding fathers rock hard, the white Western men of Christian civilization have made the cosmos their bitch. As was their God-given right, they ruthlessly set about draining every natural resource they could get their soft and unworked hands on, patriotically disregarding the obvious and dire future consequences that were certain to come purely for monumental personal financial gain. Thanks to their complete lack of humanity, humanity has entered a new golden age, one where the strong prosper and the weak create the foundation upon which an entire intergalactic human society is built and maintained. Chief among these space titans of space industry is a man of unrivaled technical skill and martial ability. It was by his hand that the untamed wilds of Mars were brought under human control. Through nothing but sheer goddamn hard work and the trillions of dollars his father earned trafficking people and heroin, Elad Tusk has become a god amongst men, a true embodiment of the Sigma male grind set, living proof that the Petersonian ideal yet lingered, even in an age of decadence and corruption. He was like Jesus, if the King of Peace hadn't been such a pussy. But despite the unprecedented exploitation of priceless and irreplaceable natural wonders, the do-gooders still weren't short of complaints. The whiny commies and their useful idiot government sponsors / puppets were all too willing to trample over the work of the godly men in their mindless pursuit of their materialist agenda. They were not satisfied to have already corrupted the spirit of Earth, Mother Gaia, the cradle of humanity. Once it had been home to the principles of liberty and honor, but now it was just a den of thieves and vipers. Crime vipers. And they would not be satisfied until the entire galaxy fell beneath the jackbooted heel of social justice and income equality, whatever the hell that was. And so as the governments of Earth fell one by one like mad dominoes in some fucked up chess game, It was left to business leaders to fill the void. And with their starships packed to the rafters with disposable slave labour, that's just what they did. Democracy had failed. Too weak to fight the Stalinist bankers / liberal arts college tutors who truly ran the world. So it had fallen to men of blood and honour to do what needed to be done. And with the limitless power of their galaxy brain intellect, these men had dragged the mewling masses to their new homes among the stars. Undeterred by the clear and obvious virtues of race-based profiteering, the gay Marx infection had spread out from Earth up to the stars and then beyond, unchecked and unchallenged by spineless, weak-minded gamma males, turned soft by luxuries paid for with the blood of strong men willing to brave the wilds of space. The mind sickness had spread with ease, from station to station, moon to moon, planet to planet, all the way across a whole goddamn galaxy, to the dawning of this very day, to the rising of this very Martian sunrise. A Cold War that had silently raged clear across an entire solar system was about to turn hot. From fighting, I mean, not the sun, obviously, that would be stupid. And now that hot sun was slowly rising over a small mining town nestled neatly in the quiet backwaters of the Martian frontier and heating it with its warm and hot glowing heat. Just warming the ground and that, not the war. Like I say, honestly, just forget the whole hot and cold thing. It's getting a little out of hand now. From the town square to the far-off farmlands, the glittering spaceport to the old corral. Here was a place where bleeding-edge technology met good old-fashioned family values. To all who knew it, Tusktown was a simple yet magical place. A close-knit community of just 76 Tusk-affiliated colony fulfillment liaisons. Just one company town out of 100. Some complete prick, might say. And yet it was totally unique. Tusktown had been the very first. The blueprint, hand-reared by Tusk himself, it was the town seed from which every other factory planet shoot tree town had grown out here on Mars. Out in the wide open space, far from the maddening Martian crowds, they were free at last to scratch an honest-to-God living from the honest-to-God dirt. And to have the lion's share of that living shipped off-world and sold at a monstrous markup merely to bolster the grotesquely swollen bank accounts of men who literally could not spend that amount of money even if given 100 lifetimes with which to do so, which thanks to the marvels of future medicine, many of them have been. For lovers of both freedom and independence, this was like a slice of libertarian heaven, also known as hell to the rest of us. But as any well-read student of history can tell you, safety and security oft-times will breed complacency, and these plain, rustic, peace-loving folk could simply never have predicted the pure hate and destruction that was about to rain down upon them. They were a beacon of hope and an obvious target. Could a place as pure as Tusktown be allowed to survive in a galaxy gone completely bisexual? Only time will tell. Soon these 76 lives would hang in the balance, and only one amongst them would have the strength to stand tall. A man of honour, a man of integrity, a man with a whole shitload of fuck-off guns and that.
So there you go.
If you don't want to buy this now, then I don't know what to say, frankly.
Then fair enough. So there you have it, Strikebreaker 3049 by Tom Chancy, a sci-fi thriller. Buy it.
Buy it.
So yeah, here we go. That was Strikebreaker 3049. A remarkable, stirring, moving opening, which sounds quite filthy when you say it like that. Moving on to a very different beast. This is Cancelled by Mr. J.K. Howling, a brand new author who has joined the Blind Drunk Publishing House. Can't wait to share his incredible work.
He's a great lad. Has some very robust opinions.
Yes, very interesting views on British politics.
Yes, and women.
And the way that the left have taken control of the country we love. So here we go, Cancelled by J.K. Howling. Chapter 1. There's no prologue in this one.
So, Tom Chancy, it's value for money.
Yeah, it really is. It's a one-off.
Free prologue with every novel.
Yeah. Chapter 1, The Night of the Tweeter. Kind of funny, all this Twitter stuff. We went from Elon to Twitter in this one, and somehow in the meantime they have become entwined. Elon bought Twitter, and now Twitter doesn't even exist anymore. It's fucking X.
What the fuck is that?
So yeah, please forgive how outdated This
Yeah.
has all just been rendered
Yeah,
in the
this
last-
is so last week.
Yeah. Night of the Tweeter. He whirled dramatically to observe them all, cooped up together for one last go-round here in the ornatest of ornate drawing rooms situated within the centuries-old and similarly ornate Rococo Hall. The gathered parties all froze in place to regard the small man who now stood in judgment over each and every one of them. A single word from him was enough to decide their fate, they knew. So celebrated were his labyrinthine mind and the powers of legally distinct deduction contained therein. He strolled casually but forcefully around the baroquely adorned room, weaving in and out of the chaise lounges, divans, reclining settees, and other words for posh sofa. They all watched him closely, each of them knowing by now that his rotund shape, minuscule stature, and magnificent facial hair belied the devilish wildcat that dwelt behind the shadows of his keen eyes. He whirled again, somehow even more dramatically than before, a nearby electric lamp lighting up his face just so, giving him the countenance of a ritual mask from some far-flung corner of the darkest regions of darkest Africa, the darkest of the dark continents. For you see, he spoke with a sharp softness, the killer is in this very room. You picked a great time.
You are going to get me to do a spit take at some point.
I think the closest I ever got was Sleeping Giant.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I believe it was the muscular arse and thighs. A ripple of fear ran through the crowd, and they instinctively drifted towards the paternal protection of Daddy Shapini. He watched, a stunned fury pulsing through his muscular arse and thighs. Yes, go on. Oh, fuck me.
Oh fuck! That was even closer. That was.
As I saw you pick the fucking ball, I was like, here it comes, here it comes. Some gasped, some fainted, and yet one alone rose to stand. The gun they had secretly held in their hand this entire time now outstretched and pointed right at the famed detective's back. There was a clap of thunder, the lights all dimming at once, plunging the scene into complete and utter darkness. Before the sound of thunder had even cleared, there came a second crash as a single shot rang out in the black. And the body struck the mosaic tiles with a sickening thud. To be continued. And they said I'd never do it, Patrick Rowlahan said aloud to himself in his cosy and charming cubbyhole den / office space man cave. He had always been a children's author, and he would forever be a children's author. At least, that's what they had always told him. Critics. Who needs them? Had always been Patrick's response. Every poor review he had ever gotten only served to mark them out as Philistines and cowards in Patrick's mind, especially when compared to his legions of adoring young fans. And hey, the vast amounts of money in my numerous offshore bank accounts might have a word or two to say to these so-called culture writers, Patrick thought, laughing at his own practiced and easy wit. And now here had come the cherry on top. A writer he may be, they said, begrudgingly letting him into their oh-so-exclusive club, if only on a technicality, but he was no literary writer. No, that was a place reserved for the real authors, you see. Children are so easily pleased, they would always scoff. Well, they wouldn't be sneering for much longer, he now knew. For Patrick Rowlahan had just finished the final chapter in the first book of his latest blockbuster series. A series he was sure would become even more wildly popular than the series that had first propelled him to global stardom. This time, in contrast to his start in young adult fiction, he had decided to strike out at a more mature audience. Patrick had always loved watching murder mystery television, so the transition to crime fiction had been a no-brainer. His first tentative steps into the writing world had come at a relatively old age. Sketching out the plot for the first 9 stories in his, by now, internationally famous What If Eaten But With Werewolves book series as he rode his bike to work each morning. His notebook delicately braced against the handlebars as he swerved this way and that, blindly faltering into traffic, even as his imagination ran wild on the page. Now, he thought to himself with a smile, the time had come again to take yet another genre by storm. Patrick dusted his hands together and left the shiny old typewriter behind him. It was 7 o'clock in the evening, and he could already hear his darling wife preparing dinner downstairs. That meant it was time for uninterrupted family time. The only thing Patrick loved more than writing world-class novels beloved by all was spending time with his wife and son beloved by him, as well as others, of course, for they too were also loved by all. Downstairs, Patrick's dutiful wife Sarah was dutifully plating up some dutiful food while his son watched television in their dutiful living room. Patrick stopped in the doorway to watch, still unnoticed, and quietly reflect on how lucky he was to have such a functional and loving heterosexual family unit. Nothing will take this away from me, he thought, foreshadowingly. If chance conspired to demand it of me, I would gladly give up everything in the world for my loving wife and child. Patrick knew then, with bone-deep certainty, little imagining that chance would indeed conspire to demand just that of him within a scant few pages. Just as she finished scooping the last of the delicious food onto the plates, Sarah looked up and all at once saw him there. She smiled then, a warm and gentle woman's smile. It filled his heart with gladness to see it so. "Could you set the table for me, darling?" she asked respectfully. "Certainly, my dear," Patrick replied, not showing even a hint of his irritation. He rubbed a dishcloth lightly over the wooden surface and chucked a few bits of cutlery haphazardly down. With a fixed grin and almost inaudible sigh, Sarah left the plates by the stove and finished the job for him. Patrick was a feminist, and as such, he would never deny his wife the joy of good, honest manual labour. Just then, the light of their life ran into the room. A bouncing boy with seemingly limitless energy. Little Johnny Rowlahan had been the apple of their shared eye ever since the day he was born. "Dad!" he cried, running toward Patrick and jumping into his arms. Patrick hoisted him laughing into the air. "Hello, son, whom I love," Patrick declared, despite the persistent twinge in his back. Little Johnny was getting so heavy these days. He'd be 12 years old in just a few short weeks. And what a 12 years they had been. 12 years of joy, Patrick reflected. No doubt just the first 12 of many more 12s of years of joy to come, Patrick thought, already belabouring the ominous foreshadowing previously alluded to just a few short passages ago. Little Johnny Rowlahan pulled up a chair next to his father, and they all sat down to enjoy the evening meal. "Before we start, I'd just like to let you know that I have just this moment finished making the final alterations to what I am sure will be my new masterpiece," Patrick announced. Little Johnny gasped, delighted by the news of his father's continued literary success. "Of course, the accomplishments are entirely my own, but I want you to know that I simply could not have done it without the love and support of my loving and supporting family. You most of all, little Johnny Rowlahan." Patrick was not one for getting overly emotional with his family, but right now he just couldn't hold back a few tears. Not with how good his new book was. Sarah gave his hand a quick squeeze and quickly began eating, no doubt not wanting to show their son just how emotionally affected she was in this truly momentous moment. That was written. That's in the book. It says that. Patrick scooped up a forkful of food and fed it sumptuously into his gob hole, savouring the manifold fragrances and flavours. Women do know their way around a kitchen, Patrick reflected. Not that Patrick was one of those men. It was just the simple truth of things. He would always be grateful that his wife had finally seen sense and given up her career in environmental science to support his far more important job of shit author. Patrick savoured the meal, but not only did he savour the meal, he also savoured the sights and sounds of his beloved family life. In a sense, he was devouring his wife and son, just as one would a meal, draining them of all life and nutritional value, and transforming it into sustenance for himself and himself alone. What a nice thought, he thought nicely to himself, making a mental note of that particular bit of imagery and vowing to include it in his very next book. He tried a smile in Sarah's direction, but she still wasn't looking at him. After dinner, they had sat around the vast 64-inch family smart TV and watched the greatest television comedy program of all time, Mrs. Brown's Boys. Once they had laughed themselves silly, Patrick had listened from the other room as Sarah put little Johnny to bed. It was another perfect evening in a long line of evenings that still felt to Patrick like something out of a wonderful dream. Later, when Sarah had finished cleaning the dishes and ceilings, that old familiar initial writer's high upon finishing another #1 bestseller had now predictably dulled. Just like it always did, now came the creeping doubts. What if the punters only wanted more of the same? What if my prose is simply too highbrow for the common man? No, he shook his head as if to say to those negative thoughts, no, I shake my head at you. Sarah climbed the stairs, exhausted as she stalked past their very large bed and into the bathroom to get herself ready for a very large sleep. She would have another long day of child rearing and house cleaning tomorrow, Patrick knew. She'll need her rest. Though, thanks to Patrick's paternal breadwinner work ethic, she would be spared the harsh realities of any real work. Not wanting any further trouble from his own doubts, Patrick turned to his one true solace. Twitter. While he had been sceptical at first, even downright snobbish, once he had begun to use the site in earnest, he had quickly come to absolutely love it. Now it was all his family could do to get him off it. Breaking news at your fingertips. 1 million friends, old and new. Nothing was ever more than a click away. And the memes. Oh, the memes. As a 49-year-old man, Patrick had never felt so young as when a brand new meme dropped onto his timeline to elicit rounds of unbridled chortling from him and his legions of adoring followers. It's got such a strong meme game.
Yeah, a very strong meme game.
And so it was in this spirit of good-natured, community-driven camaraderie that Patrick fired up his phone here at the end of another hard-working weekday to see what delights waited in store on the greatest website on earth. He took a deep breath, smiled, and logged in. Immediately he began to scroll. He had been online before, and by now it was almost second nature. The likes were flying from his thumb like mad tonight. Likes were free and easy, Patrick knew, but his discerning eye and frighteningly high standards allowed only the most top-shelf of tweets to qualify for the hallowed retweet. Whenever he stumbled upon a post of such caliber, his mind would instantly begin turning it over, deliberating, his thumb hovering over the grayed-out twin arrow icon, which, with a single press, would transform into a now vitalized, healthy green version of the same icon. He was giving life to that tweet, he knew. If Twitter was the Garden of Eden, and it was, then he was God Almighty himself, creating life anew with each vitalizing click. What a thrill. The buzzing whir of Sarah's electric toothbrush cut out as she finished up in the bathroom, and Patrick knew that it was time to log off for now. He cast his gaze back down to his phone's large and expensive Super Retina XDR OLED display screen, and that was when he saw it. A simple news story. Or so he thought. But the more he read the headline, the more engrossed he became. It wasn't long before he felt the strange tingling sensation at the back of his head. It was the siren song of the retweet button, calling him, begging him, teasing. Please run your delicate yet workmanlike thumb over my eager and responsive curves, it seemed to say to him. The headline read as follows. Local man discovers shocking new theory which disproves everything we thought we knew, and scientists are absolutely furious. Patrick was stunned, intrigued. Damn, he was man enough to admit it. He was aroused. Just then, Sarah stepped out of the bathroom and switched off the light. "Ready for bed, darling?" he asked, leaning forward to readjust his thick and expensive duck feather pillows in the sudden gloom. She did not answer as she climbed stiffly into bed. Patrick was left fumbling one-handed as he attempted to keep purchase on both pillow and phone alike, all while readjusting his posture in the dark. He looked down, and the panic set in. He had lost the tweet. Somehow, in all that confusion, he had misclicked. He steadied himself, bracing his body against their luxurious headboard, while his thumb scrolled desperately across his phone's touchscreen display. When at last he found it again, his heart leapt in his chest, and he let out a deep sigh of relief. He had simply accidentally clicked onto the profile of the news website that had posted the story, and with a few swipes he was back at the tweet that had intrigued him so. Sarah clicked off the final bedside light, and as his eyes adjusted to a now pitch-black room, coupled with the glaring white light of his inch-thick phone, Patrick clicked that most sacred of buttons. But this could be no mere retweet. Not now. Not after the unfurling drama he had barely survived just to get here. No. He had already decided that this required a holy quote retweet now. Patrick would not only share this amongst his hundreds of thousands of followers, but he would add his own comment to the sharing, a blessing of sorts, letting them know just how important this was for him, and therefore, by extension, for them also. Without his glasses, he strained to see the admittedly massive keyboard that dominated the lower half of his gigantic money sponge of a phone. Food for thought, he typed out, adding a pensive-faced emoji to express his thoughtful mood, and then he hit send. No doubt his followers would have a whale of a time reading about this shocking new theory that had seemingly turned every field of science completely on its head. Patrick let out a satisfied sigh and deposited his phone on the ornate bedside table that stood beside their actually even more ornate bed. As he drifted off, Patrick thought of the joy he had just given to his many followers. followers, who no doubt depended entirely on him to curate their cluttered and noisy news feeds. He thought about the genuinely brilliant book he had just finished and how happy it would make everyone to know how well he was doing. And finally, he thought about the book event that he would be attending in Norwich tomorrow afternoon. His life was perfect, and nothing can change that now, he thought, as his eyelids began to grow heavier and heavier, little knowing the multiple hints to the contrary that had already been dropped in the body of this very text. "Good night, my love," Patrick said to Sarah in the dark, but she had already presumably fallen asleep. Okay. So there we have
J.K. Howling.
Yeah, the chilling opening to Cancelled by J.K. Howling.
It sets the scene perfectly, really, doesn't
Yeah.
it, for this intense thriller.
Yeah, this Twitter-based.
Yes.
The hair's standing up.
Yeah.
You know, like I've got chills. Just
Oh, yeah,
from
yeah.
the chilling
Yeah.
stuff.
I pissed myself.
Yeah, still pissing. So yeah, there you have it. There's a little sneak peek to absolute
Bangers.
Roller coaster ride bangers, certified classic.
Bang thrillers.
Yeah, bang thrill ratio per page is just
Off the charts.
the fucking charts. So yeah, please do, even if you don't buy the books, please leave 5-star reviews on Amazon for all of them. We desperately need to get higher reviews than Liberty Adams.
Oh,
Mega
yeah,
Hat.
yeah.
Just so that we can rub it in her face.
Yes, that would be nice.
Like we can put it on the website, you know, objectively better. So, you know, you can make that happen.
You can. Yeah, it's up to you. It's all in your hands now.
Yeah. Our success or continued failure is in your hands. Please do check out the books. All the links will be down in the description below. Wherever you get your books, you can, you know, you won't find these. But you will find them on Gumroad and Amazon. Because they have ISBN numbers. I think you can actually request them at local libraries as well.
Oh, really?
If you just give them the ISBN number.
That would be fantastic. I
And,
would love that.
So, yeah, of course, Sleeping Giant, as you will know, is about...
Family.
Yes, it's about family. Described on the title page as a simple tale of extraordinary men. It's a story about Staff Gunnery Master Rear Chief Admiral Beanie Shapini, the youngest cabin boy in Air Force history and first man on the moon, I think. I'm probably getting some of that wrong. But, yeah, it's a story about a simple man.
I think
who,
simple is...
yeah,
It really hits the crux
really
of it,
hits the
doesn't
nail on
it?
it, whose life gets blown apart when BLM sleeper agents attack his family at a Little League baseball game.
And which of us hasn't been there?
Yeah,
eh?
exactly. Very relatable
Yeah.
story for most people, certainly these days, with the Joe Biden's communist America. So he goes on a long, destructive trail of...
Destruction.
of trailing destruction. And he, he takes the good fight to the very heart of the leftist rot that has taken root in American society. You know, his travels take him from shocking scenes inside the communist prison complex and the woke military and soy police, as well as to very heights of presidential abuse.
Fiction. For now.
Yeah, it will change your life.
It will.
Or
Absolutely.
your money back. If you request a refund, you will be billed twice. So yes, Strikebreaker 3049, 20 what? We're doing, I don't know why I said that number instead. Strikebreaker 3049, the tale of Chadley T. Roosevelt, an incredibly large neo-Nazi man. Really, it's one man's journey from the deserts of Mars all the way out to a different part of the same deserts of Mars.
Yeah.
It really is a globe-trotting story. It's a morality tale for the completely A-mind. You'll be shocked and appalled at where it goes.
You will. That's a guarantee.
Yeah, and I'll say no more. For legal reasons. And once again, it will in fact change your life or your money back. You will not get your money back.
No refund.
Yeah, with Cancelled, obviously, yeah, we have Patrick Rowlahan, again, not based on anyone. I would never base that on any particular divorced, disgraced Irish comedian.
No.
It's just an amalgamation of...
Divorced, disgraced Irish comedian.
Yeah, this again, a shocking thrill ride that will chill you to the bone. Really lays bare the hypocrisy at the heart of leftist progressivism.
Yeah.
We see Patrick hounded by the online furry contingent. That is
Terrible people.
Yeah, growing ever bolder.
I mean, are they even people?
Yeah.
Are they people
Yeah.
or are they animals? I don't
exactly.
even know.
Who knows? Litter trays in
schools.
In schools. Andrew Tate needs to go into these schools and straighten these kids out.
Yeah, I think he'd jump at the opportunity.
Yeah, it starts online, but it bleeds into the real world, and very soon he finds himself chased through the streets by an assortment of various leftist antifa-maniacs. A gang of freaks and killers led by Britain's most prolific serial killer, Diane Abbott. Yeah, it's one for the ages, and once again it will indeed, in fact, change your life.
Yes.
Your money back. You will not get any money
No
back.
refunds.
No refunds. If you try to claim a refund, you will be double, if not triple billed.
Yeah.
So yeah, the big takeaway from today is
No refunds.
So thanks for joining us. Thanks for being here with us. We hope that this gassed you up to get a hold of these books. They're well worth your time.
No refunds.
Again, off the street. Money is ours. Money is ours. Okay. That's a one-way street. So there you have it. 3 books on sale right now.
What are you waiting for?
Yeah. Why are you still watching this piece of shit? Get over there. Buy these pieces of shit. What's the matter with you? So there we have it. Tom Chancy's Sleeping Giant, Strikebreaker 3049, and J.K. Howling's Cancelled. 3 absolute bang ride thriller coaster, straight from the headline rippers, whose quality you can now personally attest to. Thank you so much for being here with us. Thanks for joining us.
Again, big thank you to Alfie.
Thanks for the incredibly talented artists bringing the books to life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being on this years-long journey now. I think we're just over 4 years.
Whoa.
Just over 4 years, I believe.
My God, what a vicious waste of time.
What a horrible thing to have done.
All we can do is apologise at this point.
Consider this. Consider this a divorce. Thank you very much for being here. Check us out on Patreon. Please do like the video, subscribe, share it around, and most importantly, check the books out. We're pretty sure that you will like them. They get a lot better than that. Trust me, they do. They get a lot better than that.
Don't forget to join us next time when we'll be reading a book written by someone who's admittedly not as talented as Tom Chancy or J.K. Howling.
But he is dead, so there's that. He has that going for him. And until next time, do we have like a saying?
Bye!
Isn't it cool when you cut your hand and the blood is red instead of sellout green? This is not music for an R&B mind. This is flower intertwined with a vine.
In other words, this is raw.
You see what I mean, or see what Grandpa Bam saw? The funk we transmit is unstable. One condition if I am able to say.
Yes, you may.
Well, hey, let's get on with it. Vocal confetti is thrown, sometimes spit it out the vents of hecklers and fans. Either which way, they all hop on the band. The band, the band. Here comes the band, a tribe of fingers all on one hand.
First on BBC One, Prince Andrew becomes part of Jimmy Savile's dream team.